Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Boulanger, head of recruitment with Booking.com. And here is Brendan Bank, CIO of Booking.com. He recruited me about a year ago from Washington, D.C. to Amsterdam.
I'm Brendan Bank, so welcome. So before we start, I'd like to ask you a question which I also always ask our candidates. So who of you have previously booked with Booking.com? So raise your hand if you've booked with Booking.com. So that's around 75% of this audience has booked. And I think that's a testimony to what Booking.com is all about. We've created a company that commoditized the travel industry, just like LinkedIn has commoditized professional networking and Google has commoditized search.
Sorry, guys, I lost my slide here. There we go. So when LinkedIn asked us to talk about this topic of building a kick-ass company culture, of course, the first thing I did was Google it, and I got 3 million hits. So obviously, this is a really hot topic in talent acquisition. So why do you guys think this is so important? Really, a company culture can make or break a company. According to Bain, they surveyed 365 companies across North America and Europe, and 81% of those companies believe that your company is doomed to fail if you do not have a high-performance-based culture.
So to create that culture, you also need a very strong mission. And our mission is to help leisure and business travelers, whatever their budget, to easily discover, book, and enjoy the world's best places to stay. So what we basically sell is an experience to our customers. And how do we do that? Well, we have, on the one hand, we have demand from our customers. We have supply from our vendors, and these are hotels, bed and breakfast, apartments, anywhere you can sleep. And then we bring that together in a store. We actually don't own any hotels, we don't own any rooms, but we bring them together just like an agent would. Booking.com is basically a marketing engine for these accommodations, and it consists of people and servers, and that's it. Just quickly rewind. So in 1996, Booking.com was founded by Geert-Jan Bruinsma in Enschede, which is in the the east of the Netherlands. And the problem was there that he had very poor access to internet and to talent. So he moved the company to Amsterdam very quickly. And as you can see, we grew a lot. Major point here is 2005, where the Priceline Group acquired Booking.com, and it gave us the resources to grow even faster. Over the last 3 years, we tripled the amount of properties on Booking.com, and currently we're over 10,000 people in 180 offices in around 62 countries globally around the world. Of course, technology had to keep up with that growth. So when I started with just 50 people in IT, currently it's about 1,000, and this happened in the span of around 7 years. Now, please, these people are all in Amsterdam. So 80% of all that tech talent has to be relocated to Amsterdam. The technology talent pool in the Netherlands is quite small. It's a small country. So we recruit currently a lot of people from outside the Netherlands. So then you have the problem. If you go body shopping for anybody that can code, you're probably importing cultures and a cultural fit that doesn't match your own culture. So we really wanted to create a culture where people love to work in. We're fighting this war on talent. All these people that we currently have in process, they also have applications at Google, eBay, Amazon, Apple. So we're really competing in that global marketplace for talent.
Sorry. So, we already had a culture in place, of course, and but it was more tribal in nature and in knowledge, and so our leaders were constantly having to explain our culture to their teams. So in 2009, we wrote it down and we created our formula and values. And this is really the framework to help drive our people to reach their potential. It drives our culture and it drives business value.
So we started off with scribbles on paper and a lot of senior executives of the company back then just radiating that culture and that value. And we had a lot of pictures of cows. And the reason was that our former CEO, and our current CEO, by the way, also, they were dairy farmers. And as you know, as a dairy farmer, you have to milk the cows every day, every morning, and every evening. And what happens if you don't milk the cows? Your cows get sick. So this concept of milking the cows every day is strongly rooted into our culture.
Sorry about that.
But with these formulas and these values, we also needed a new operating model. And the problem we're trying to solve is the following. If an engineer comes walking up to you and say, hey, I have a great idea, and you think about it and you say no, it's about the worst you can do. First of all, this guy or girl will never come back to you and come up with a new idea. And second, he's highly demotivated. You just killed all creativity for that person. So we needed a new way to organize. So what we did, we turned the pyramid upside down, and myself and Darren and Gideon and the whole leadership team of Booking.com, we provide strategy, we provide a vision for everybody to work in. And the middle management will create an environment and will take impediments from the teams on top. We currently have about 150 teams that are self-steering, that have a very defined responsibility and very strong KPIs. And then on top we have the customers. So those teams constantly trying to innovate the product that we give our customers. An example of such a team is, for instance, the Booking.com search box. That's a whole team with data analysts, with engineers, designers, and they only look at that box and they really try to optimize that box as much as possible. Now, this is all possible because we have that constant flow of data from our customers down to those teams. So we give the teams strong KPIs on what we expect from them, what business impact do we expect from them, and they get this constant flow of data towards them so they can operate independently. So they can come up with a new idea in the morning and then have it live in the afternoon. So we have this continuous release process of all our products, and we stream all those releases to our customers as fast as possible at the highest velocity. Now, the thing that you cannot have in such a model is what we call hippos. So these are highest paid people's opinion, because we really only do data-driven product development. We don't do opinion-driven development. And that's one of the key drivers in this. If you turn the pyramid upside down, as a leader, you have to step back and you have to give that strategy and don't get involved into the detail of the individual products.
So there's another value. We say there's no show ponies in this model as well. We're only workhorses. It's actually interesting. This is kind of show pony for us to be on stage here like this, but we wanted to share our culture with all of you. But really, this rings true to everyone at Booking.com, no matter what department you're in. In technology, there are no architects, there are no project managers. Everyone is an architect, everyone is a project manager. They all contribute, as a workhorse through the upside-down model.
Now, the problem with this high-velocity product development is that things break. And engineers really are not compatible with that. They want to build product that is actually sustainable, that is stable. So the problem that you then have is that you have a risk-averse engineer that wants to build, product that is always on, that has very good interaction with your customers, versus this high-paced velocity product development. So what we've done, if we created an outage budget, so we say you can break the website, not too much, but you can lose some business impact because of this model. It's the downside of high velocity product development, which we mitigated with a budget. So we say fail fast and fail cheap. And at the core of this is that, and that you hear that all across the office, keep the customer at the center of everything you do. We as technologists, as engineers, we have lots of opinions about our product. We have, we use our website every day, but for the people that actually use our website are not as professional as us. So we constantly need to make sure that we bring back the focus to our customers. So now we have these very strong pillars in our culture, strong values, strong formula, and the other thing that we strive for is really to make sure that we have an engaged employee. We strongly believe that an engaged employee builds a better product. So over the last 2-3 years, we've really tried to break down what are the drivers from engagement. And we came up with 3 things. It's purpose, autonomy, and mastery. And I think this morning there already was some talk about purpose. Purpose is not just the mission of the company, it's also your personal purpose in life. Mastery is, can I learn something? Can I excel? Can I go to the next level? Are you a teacher or are you a student? And we really want to make sure that everybody's a student, so that during your whole employment life at Booking.com, you learn something. And then the last thing is autonomy, being able to self-direct your job, your life, what you work on, with who you work. So we started out with hackathons about 3 years ago. People can spend about 10% of their time on any project that they feel fit, which they feel has business impact. And very, very interesting products came from this, like villas.com, which is now live and carries all our non-hotel inventory. So hackathons really tie into the mastery, the learning, and the autonomy.
And to tie into this even more, we really encourage our employees to blog. This is really a form of self-improvement for them. We have 3 blogs. We have a tech blog, we have a designer blog, and we actually have just an overall employee blog. So we have everyone from like an account manager in Toronto to a recruiter in Amsterdam to a developer who are writing articles and publishing this. And really what this does is it not only helps attract talent, but it grows your people, and it also it empowers them, and it shares your culture with those people out there.
Now, never forget the tech partners. Remember, we import around 80% of our workforce. We move cats, dogs, children, plants, rabbits, you name it, and we will move it. But that means that they come in a strange country with no social structure. We have, and what we want to avoid is that an engineer, developer, designer comes home and his or her partner is just miserable because she hasn't talked to anybody all day. So what we've built is what we call the Tech Partner Program. There's currently about 400 partners in that program, and we do all sorts of things for them. We do play groups in the park. We do. They can work in our call center, guaranteed. We can we have career coaches, job coaches for them. We organize Christmas parties. We have weekly coffee meetups. All of them to create a social context, a social structure for these partners to make sure that they also feel at home in Amsterdam, in Booking.com. Now, last thing about, which is very strong in our culture, is food. So for those of you who are Dutch in the room, we have like, or not Dutch in the room, we have like a second breakfast for lunch. So we eat sandwiches and cheese for lunch. And currently we have around 60 nationalities in IT. So, and they don't want that. They really want, noodles. They want hot meals for lunch. So we really had to change the whole kitchen and the whole catering concept of the restaurant to make sure that we feed our staff the food that they want to eat.
So, so now that we've talked about building an engineering culture, we need to talk about building a recruiting culture. So you guys know, obviously, it takes A people to hire A people, and B people will hire C people. So really, to grow a company or build a company, you need a village of A players. And so everyone at Booking is a recruiter. So our senior devs are recruiters, our product owners, our designers, and obviously our recruiters are recruiters. They are constantly sourcing, referring, interviewing. Everyone is super engaged in recruitment, and there's really a close partnership between the recruiting team and the business. And they're always trying to innovate. If something isn't working well in the interview process, or maybe a candidate had a bad experience, they're constantly talking through these things together and working on it because we're all in this together. One of our values that we spoke about earlier is bias to insource. And when we say insource recruiting, we literally mean insourcing recruiting. The technology recruiting team actually sits in the business. It reports to technology. It's in the budget. They go to the same promotion meetings, team meetings, happy hours. They're really part of the business. And so this is really, truly insourced recruitment. I want to say, secondly, we don't use a lot of recruiting agencies. We used to. But I've really found that our recruiters, being a part of the business, they can really talk about what it's like to work in Booking's technology department. They know the products. They know what it's like. They're part of the team, and they do a much better job with candidates instead of relying on a third-party person who has really no idea what Booking's culture is all about. We say we optimize for speed and quality and not cost. Obviously, if you do this, you become more efficient over time. So really, when we structure the recruitment team, it's also aligned with the business in these pods. So Brendan mentioned, these 150 teams or whatever. So our recruitment is also aligned in teams. So we have a team that just focuses on developers. We have a team that focuses on data scientists, a team that focuses on product owners. And these teams consist of, a team lead, recruiters, sourcers, and coordinators. And this way, this team becomes a partner to the business and also a subject matter expert in this. And they're constantly talking to the same people, building that network. And we're able to deliver a lot more hires, a lot better quality hires, and really improve the candidate experience.
So we talked about values, organizational model, a bias to insource. We also needed a way to evaluate people, and from the first contact that we would have with people until their yearly performance and reward cycle, until when they leave the company, and every step in between, we need to make sure that we evaluate people. So we kind of created a model which we call the 3 C's: craft, communication, and commercial awareness. Where craft is all about skill, communication is about working together, being able to co-create new ideas, being able to articulate what you're working on to others and manage others, and also making sure that because these teams, they act like little startups, that they make sure that there's no conflict and that people are not just heads down working, but they are actually talking to each other. Last C is really commercial awareness, and this is about what do you prioritize for? If you give an engineer 10 things to do, what will he choose? He probably choose something that is close to his heart, or that he's good at, or that's really complex. Not often will they choose things with the highest business impact. So we're looking for people that think like that. Okay, what is the highest business impact? It's not something I want to work on, but what is good for the customer to work on. So as these 3 C's, if you all score high on them, you also have a very strong cultural fit into Booking.com.
So another one of our values is that diversity gives us strength, and diversity equals innovation. But also diversity is a core part of our product. We serve customers from around the globe. And so we recruit from around the globe. Brendan mentioned earlier that we relocate 80% of our hires. We have a global mobility team that, handles this entire process for them. So it's easy. They don't have to think about it. They can just come to work and start easily. However, for a recruiter, this is overwhelming. They can recruit from anywhere around the world. They can recruit any language. We're tech stack agnostic when we hire. We hire strong developers. So where do you start? So the recruiters have gotten really good at looking at competitive intelligence. What's happening in the market? Where do these people sit? Are there companies having layoffs? Are things happening maybe that we should go after a specific market? And we've also actually leveraged LinkedIn to help us do some talent mapping to understand where our talent pools sit. And we even look at our nationalities that we currently have on staff. We think, gosh, we could use a little bit more diversity. So if we notice we don't have enough developers or POs from a certain region, we'll actually target that area to recruit out of. Obviously, another big part of keeping your culture intact is referrals. We launched a new program called U+ this year. And what's interesting is when I started at Booking a year ago, our referrals for the technology organization were only 11%. We're now at 45%, and that's in 1 year. And I think what's interesting, too, is because we relocate all these people from around the world, it's not like you're referring your next-door neighbor to come work at the company in the same city. This is not local referrals. People are referring from all over the planet. So really, the recruiting team, getting this referral percentage up is a huge feat because you're referring someone to actually move to Amsterdam from around the world. And as you see here, referrals they're more engaged, we have a better retention rate, and they perform better, and they're happy. They're happier at Booking. So let's talk about data-driven recruitment. So when I started, I told Brendan, I said, Brendan, I need a recruiting analyst. We had Google Docs of all this stuff. I was like, and at first he was a little hesitant, but then he said, okay, yes. So we hired a recruiting analyst. And we started looking at the data. And with this data, we actually built KPIs for the recruiting team. We looked at what's a healthy sourcing mix? Where do our best hires come from? And are we getting too many from one place? So this is a focus for the recruiters. Second, conversion ratios. Wow, so we know exactly how many resumes, phone screens, interviews, offers that we need to have to make our numbers, our hires. So when I commit to Brendan on what targets we make, the recruiters know exactly what they need to do. And same with this achieving targets. So they know their goals, but they also know okay, I need to fill this many interview slots this week or we're not gonna be able to hit this target. And it's not just individual targets, they are team goals as well. So they work together as a team, they help each other. If someone is behind on something else, the team will jump in and help the other folks. I think the last two here, length of recruitment process. Everybody talks about time to hire, time to fill. I mean, when you're relocating people from around the world, you've got to look at how long does it take us to get a visa for this person? How long does it take for them to move from around the globe? So we really look at the full length of the recruiting process. When I tell Brendan, hey, we need to hire 50 people this quarter, or 100 people, we may actually need to push it out because we know it's going to take us longer based on the length of the recruiting process. And lastly, we focus on experience, and this is both candidate and hiring manager. We survey, and we actually we look at the data and we make improvements based on the feedback. I want to show a quick data slide here on what's happened in tech recruitment over the last year. And I think you can see this consistent line. The recruiters, they haven't really gone up, have they? And you can see our referrals have gone up, our actually headhunts have gone up, and our hires have almost doubled, and the recruiting agency has gone to 0. So really this model is working with having this focused team, partnering with the business, sitting in the business. It works. So, of course, when you talk about culture and you talk about, I think about Booking.com, I know we all like to have fun. And having fun is an important part of your company. So, your people are your brand and, you need to share and show your culture. So one of the things, this is like most of our offices have games. This is actually the London office. I thought it was a relevant picture to show since we're in London. This is one of the call centers. So you can see this is a great place for people to collaborate and hang out outside of being on the phone. We have what we call Thirsty Thursdays and Freaky Fridays once a month around the globe. And this is a great place for people to get to know each other outside of the work, maybe over a beer, and talk about things that maybe aren't work-related. Lastly, we have BAM, and this is our booking annual meeting. This is where we invite basically 7,500 people to come to Amsterdam to drink the blue Kool-Aid. And what's interesting is this is very show pony, and this is the first time we've ever even showed a picture of BAM to anyone outside of an internal company meeting. But really, I wanted to share, like, this is our culture. It's fun. We have a good time. We get together from around the world. So to kind of wrap things up, we came up with this culture formula so that you guys can, what we do isn't going to work for you. Obviously, everyone has their own culture and their own takeaways. But we wanted to talk about some things that maybe would be relevant for you to build your own kick-ass company culture.
So to leave you with kind of the takeaways, I put one caveat on this. This works really well at Booking.com. It works well in our culture. It works great in Amsterdam. So there's a lot of contextual conditions that you will need to take into account. But it all started with our first bullet point, really, write it down. Radiate your culture from the first moment you talk to a candidate and all through the process. Because, at these days, it's not only that, tech talent chooses, or we recruit tech talent, they also need to choose us. So we really need to make sure that culture is ingrained in everything we do.
So you need to really understand where your talent comes from, right? And know what it takes to get them, because otherwise you're not going to be able to hire your A players.
Yeah, and the third bullet is really, you can't teach culture and you can't teach potential, right? But you can teach skill. So it's crucial that you recruit for those things, because they will make sure that your culture stays alive.
You can kill your culture by hiring the wrong people and hiring B players and C players. So make sure you focus on hiring the right people.
Yeah. Well, happy partner, happy developer. I think that speaks for itself.
When we say recruit diverse and globally, sometimes take a look outside your local market. Not everybody does that. You might be surprised what you might find, and it's not always expensive to find people outside of your area.
Yeah. Now, when you have such a global workforce, family emergencies and things happen, and you need to respond very creatively to these things. We have, if some family members is sick in Italy, you just need to let those people go. And they work from there for a short while. And while you do this creates a very strong bond between the company and the employee. So but that requires a lot of tailor-made solutions for people that just sometimes have to go because their family, their friends are just not in Amsterdam.
So we talked about insourcing. Insource as much as you can. It really helps build and develop your culture, and it helps develop your own people. It helps them grow. Give them a chance to do something that maybe they wouldn't have done before.
So, to celebrate internally, your culture is great, and we do a lot of that, and we try. But it's much more important these days, if you want to acquire the best talent in the world, that you radiate that culture outside. And it's a key thing to do. So don't forget that. But you as a company, how you want to position yourself, to what level do you want to be open to candidates, greatly determines if they want to work for you.
And I think lastly, this one rings true to everyone. Money doesn't buy culture. People don't come work at your company because they get perks or snacks or massages or the benefits, right? They come because of the people they're going to work with every day. And they come because of the product they're going to get to work on. There's usually there's something more. It's not about money. And I think my last thing I want to say is, you've got to nurture your culture, and so you have to milk the cows every day. You have to take care of your culture every day, because otherwise it will not thrive. I want to show a quick video that is something that we did internally during a hackathon. It didn't cost a lot of money, but it's just kind of a sneak peek into something that we did in the recruiting team.